Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're buzzing as always. Super pumped to have today's guest, Zak Manhire, on the show today. I'm a little jealous of him. He is currently in the south of Spain. Beautiful people, beautiful food, beautiful weather, beaches, salt water, mountains, football, you name it. And I'm freezing my nads off in Toronto. Way she goes, he cannot win them all. Zak is the co-founder and chief revenue officer at Fr0ntierX. He is a true partnership expert and led Costa Coffee's commercial strategy and was commercial director for EMEA at Monster Energy, closely working alongside TCCC. Most recently, he was chief commercial officer for a portfolio company within the Foresight Group. Zak has also experience with an endless list of major brands such as Adidas, Coca-Cola, Red Bull, Starbucks, and Uber. Wow, ever heard of him? Without further ado, I'm very pleased to welcome Zak Manhire to the CryptoNews podcast. Zak, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Pumped to have you on, man. What a background. You've worked with some pretty big companies. The one that stands out is Starbucks, with the recent announcement a couple of weeks ago. Starbucks Polygon getting in the news. Pretty bananas. Yeah,
it is. It was big news. I like what they've done. They're very progressive and innovative. They always have been. Massive membership program. Why not explore it? And funnily enough, I used to do a lot of the Costa customer loyalty programs as well when I was there. It's a really interesting dynamic, and one actually that's pretty difficult as a business to account for as well. Because there's so much grey area with breakage and slippage on cards and everything else that comes with it. So trying to have something that's immutable within that is a perfect combination, and hopefully it'll open the doors for everyone else to follow suit.
It's very true. You are an actual true expert when it comes to partnerships, loyalty, and you know, the term expert gets thrown around quite a bit. It's very laissez-faire, but you are actually one of them. Now, as a marketer myself, I'm incredibly curious, and I'm always trying to learn new ways to create these loyalty programs and to form these long-lasting, partnerships with asymmetric upside on both sides of the transaction. What are some of the things you wish you learned at a younger age or earlier on in your career for potentially a new marketer who's trying to incorporate some type of partnership or loyalty program within their company?
I think the biggest value is to truly know your customer, truly know who the targeted customer is, what the objectives are of the business, if it's increased ATV, if it's reaching a new audience, if it's incremental sales, if it's loyalty. It all kind of starts and finishes with the customer. You need to know them inside and out. You need to know what gaps are there. You need to understand competitor analysis, and you've got to take a viewpoint as well, and not be afraid to kind of showcase that. I mean, there's something called the Peter Principle that happens a lot within major organizations. And I don't know, Matt, if you've come across the Peter Principle before.
No, do tell.
I've experienced it a lot in almost all of the companies I've worked in. And Peter Principle is essentially when a company grows too fast, and what they do is they promote internally all the time, till the point where that person who's been promoted is actually inadequate at their role, but they've been there because they've been promoted into it. And that happens a hell of a lot. And what ends up happening is everyone's very protective around their role. They don't want to be creative. They don't want to think differently. And sometimes this is just about keeping the job and maintaining the status quo. And sometimes, data can be misled, interpreted in different ways. And I think having an idea to say, listen, I don't think that's our target customer. Or I'm looking at the metrics and there's different trigger points here. And actually, I think we can be appealing to a different audience and how to look at that. And as long as you can rationalize it rather than just taking it, thinking it's your gut feeling, get data, get science behind it, test groups. And that's the only way to evolve.
You must have, I can't say did you. Can you give me some examples from Costa or Foresight Group, Adidas, Coca-Cola, Red Bull, Starbucks, Uber, any of these world-class, multinational companies that you worked for? Can you give any examples of how you got to know your customer and then how you developed a partnership initiative or loyalty program from knowing your customer?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's quite a difficult one to answer because most of the companies that I've worked with have been multi-market. So
right.
the customer is often, it's similar, and it can be very, very broad, right? If you're a Coca-Cola customer, it depends if you're a Coca-Cola customer or if you're a SKU product or, an acquisition or portfolio business or SKU within it. They kind of touch everyone at some point within their whole beverage portfolio. So it can be difficult to understand it. I guess it's literally case by case basis, and you've got to look at what the product offering is to really understand. And sometimes it's not about even knowing your customer; it's about the future customer, right? It's a little bit like Monster Energy drinks and Red Bull. Red Bull very much appealed to that kind of when it came in and it blew the market up, and what they did was phenomenal. What they continue to do was phenomenal. But actually, the majority of Red Bull drinkers now are probably 40 plus.
Yeah.
And so, how do they attract the younger audience? Well, they probably don't. They probably missed it, or do they even need to in the first place? I used to work at Red Bull many years ago as well. And then you look at what the competitors are doing in the landscape and what they're trying to target, and whether it's health and fitness or the current new trending industry or whatever else it might be, and how they appeal to them with branding, messaging. You see energy drinks now, and there is a correlation. If you were an energy drink, you would take the playbook from Red Bull and try and replicate it.
Right. And
now what they're doing is switching it up a little bit. They're looking at who consumes the most amount of energy. Well, actually, the most amount of energy is probably taken by gamers. So, that's a great audience to attract. That's who we go after gamers.
Wow, that's a really good point. I never really thought of that before. You have a lot of experience in the drink industry, and it's one of those industries. It's like, I'll throw the ball over to my court. I used to work in the sleep industry. It's one of those things that literally every person on the planet could be part of your target market. Everyone drinks, right? Yeah, there's some people who never touch an energy drink, but everyone sleeps. Everyone needs a bed. Yes, there's some people who can't afford one, but everyone needs it. How do you compete? How do you differentiate yourself? How do you position your brand in the drink industry when there's trillions of freaking competitors?
It's a good question. I mean, yes, I'm quite well versed with drinks, but again, listen, if you're working at a corporate organization, one of the big boys, you don't have to do a lot. You've got the listing capability, you've got the marketing support, you can fail to the tune of millions and millions of pounds with an innovative new product, and it doesn't even touch the sides. If you're talking about a startup place, then it's very, very different. Then it's kind of having a defined goal of, what is the need state that I'm going to address? Is it energy? Is it impulse? Is it hydration? Is it whatever it might be? Is it dairy? Is it to intolerances? What's my target addressable market? And then how I go to market with that and think differently, and whether that's a different angle and approach. And listen, the space has changed dramatically. There's some great companies. There's one in particular in the UK, Young Foodies, does fantastic with SMEs and startups and really helps them to penetrate the space. And usually, often than not, if you start taking a small amount of market share, even a point here and there, the likelihood is you're going to be acquired pretty quickly.
Yeah, you see Prime. Yeah, like Logan Paul and KSI
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry,
I was thinking for a minute you meant Amazon Prime.
My apologies.
No, Prime drinks. Yeah, they've done well. They've got it into. They've got some good distribution networks now as well.
That's just the influencer marketing space. It's so fascinating how quickly that blew up. How it was almost like an overnight thing, right? Where it's like, you have your Kylie Jenner in the makeup, Kim Kardashian in her Skims, insert influencer X name with product Y, and it sells out right away. The range and scope they have is absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't think Gatorade could produce that much hype with a new flavor like Prime did.
Not in a million years.
Like, it's crazy. And people fall in love with people before they fall in love with companies, right? It's bananas.
And also to that point, authenticity comes into it. If you know that you subconsciously see through it, and you do now. Influencer marketing 10 years on, and it's very transparent. You can see when someone's just being paid to promote something, or there's a sponsorship angle. Yeah. If someone's actually, this is my product and I'm taking it to market and I'm going to put it on the table of everywhere and I'm going to make every opportunity to talk about this and to display it and to promote it, it's powerful.
Yeah.
But you won't get that if it's just paid sponsorship, or you just don't get that same buy-in and love.
It's crazy. And this brings us to Web3, where it's like, you can, as a creator or as a builder, you can get even more of the pie. You get a bigger piece of the pie if you choose to build on Web3. Before we sort of get into all of this, and before we get into Fr0ntierX, which is really just a one-stop shop for brands looking, or creators looking to get into Web3, you guys take care of absolutely everything. You've brought that expertise from your Web2 experience over to Web3, along with your co-founder and the rest of your team, and you guys literally do it all. It's just a classic one-stop shop. But tell me what gets you super fired up. Like what gets you going about Web3? You didn't need to make the jump into this space, clearly, but you did. Why was that?
I didn't need to, in terms of financially. I didn't need to jump into this space. I had a very good Web2 career, on a trajectory path that was looking very, very promising. But also, it destroys your soul when you work so hard and you've been grafting for years and years and 15 years, moving up the ladder, moving different companies, having I didn't often stay in a company longer than 2 years. I moved. There was opportunities to move. It was the greatest way of increasing your salary, was my viewpoint, and I can vouch for that as well. It definitely did that. But then comes the anxiety of moving, the new people, the new processes, the new personnel, so you have to adapt to it. And eventually, you kind of wear your battle scars and burnout as a badge of honor. And you just kind of have enough, and you just think, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing 60,000 miles a year. I can't keep working 80-hour weeks. And I think it's not that you can't keep doing it, it's that you don't like doing it. And the opportunity, Web3 is a passion of mine anyway. It's something I love. It's something I've been in for 7 years, in essence, with crypto. And I work those same hours now, but it doesn't feel like work. And it's enjoyable. It's play, and it's something new, and there isn't the red tape that you get in Web 2. It's a lot more collaborative. There's a lot of opportunities. People are a lot more open to working together, to figuring out things together, seeking opportunities and for the greater good of everyone else. So it wasn't a tough decision. We had a goal for Fr0ntierX, and our original goal kind of changed dramatically from where we were 18 months ago to what we are now. And yes, we're a full turnkey solution provider. But essentially, we kind of fell into that. We wanted to create a marketplace first and foremost. We saw the enormous opportunities that NFTs could bring in 2020. And we thought, for mass adoption, it can't stay in its current format. It simply can't. Yeah. So we went about creating a marketplace. We bootstrapped it, and we thought, let's create a marketplace, unique features, filters, fully customizable. And then kind of 4 months of bringing in developers to work on it, we realized open order books were coming. Everyone was going to have marketplaces. There wasn't anything unique. And actually that wasn't what we wanted to do. But whilst we were building the marketplace, we understood that Web2 UX and UI is still as powerful as ever. And we needed to ensure that whatever we were building, a Web2 non-native Web3 user could use it seamlessly. So we brought in a creative studio as well with UX, UI, graphic design. We work across Cinema 4D, Houdini, everything else. And that kind of then grew arms and legs in itself, because then all of a sudden we could actually create NFTs, we could create assets, we could create branding, we could create the full A to Z. And it was a big hook for us. But at the heart of who we are, we're a technology company. We build proprietary tech. We have a global exclusive partnership with LG Electronics, which is the press release goes out at the end of this week.
Whoa,
it might be Monday.
How'd you snag that? That's huge.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, again, it kind of comes back to what we understand of Web2 businesses, and we understand, every different business, whatever vertical they're in, whatever sector they operate very, very differently often. And, I'd spent some time working with LG throughout the years, whether it be working at Coca-Cola, whether it be working within the portfolio company I was at with Foresight, and there was a lot of work going on within QSRs and FTGs. Obviously, the LG screens were in there, and it was about building housing around the LG screen. So I kind of knew how they operated, and I knew what their objectives were. And there's only so much hardware you can sell. there's only so many new TV screens you can keep building and selling. And actually a driving point for LG is around software and licensing of software. It's a big play. And we realized very, very quickly that if we could build sophisticated proprietary API software, that there was an ability for us to utilize NFTs within their current CMS providers. So whilst we've got the screens, if they're WebOS connected, so if you think that, I don't know what the market share is, to be honest with you, globally it's probably about 21%. Someone will probably correct me on that. LG's probably 21%, Samsung's probably 27, 28%.
For
and
TVs?
For screens, you can call them screens, you could call them professional.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, so you've got screens, monitors, digital displays, professional signage, TVs, you name it. So it all kind of bundles in. Right. But then LG are also an own label kind of manufacturer as well. They supply their screens and their tech. So I mean, I didn't even know this until quite recently, but even iPhone screens are LG technology, I believe. I'm not too sure. Yeah, how true that is. So what we realized was actually what we can do is not just say that we can create you some software that you can verify your NFTs, display them, trade them, do things along these lines. But how do we take it to a level above? Near field technology, how can a screen that's in a hotel room realize without even opening their phone that actually that person's gone in the room so they can airdrop them a loyalty point or whatever else it might be? And then if you start looking at some of the QSRs and different things along those lines, why wouldn't McDonald's want to look at a different type of Happy Meal where someone could pick an NFT which could have some gamification element to it? So we started looking at all of this and thought, right, how can we do this? So we built the software to enable that, and all it's got to do is communicate with the CMS provider, and we can do that in a number of different ways, like I mentioned, with near field technology, or whether it just be QR code, whatever it might be. If it's in hotel rooms, eventually you should be able to program your NFT, which, in some of the more high-tech hotels, you've got everything from temperature control, lighting control, menu, everything, and that could just be stored on chain. So when you go in the room, it automatically uploads based on your NFT. So there's a load of different things that we can look at. So it's about taking it to a level above. Wow,
you got my head spinning there. A lot of NFT utility I've never thought of.
Huge amounts. I mean, And even when you're going into it, geolocation, a big thing for Web2 companies at the minute. I know D2C is huge, right? But even if you look at some of the great D2C companies, they're kind of going full cycle, or full circle, should I say, but or 180. I've even got it wrong that time. But you're looking at kind of like a D2C model. Harry's Razor is a good example, right? So they blew up, subscription raises, everything else. And then they realized they're kind of capping themselves a little bit by ignoring bricks and mortar. Yeah. So they go back into bricks and mortar, and then the cycle continues. Footfall and increasing footfall is a key objective of anyone who's got bricks and mortar equity. If you've got a big estate out there, you want people to keep coming to your stores. Otherwise, it's the death of high streets. It's the death of stores everywhere. And we've seen that happening over the last 5 years. So how can you reward someone for going into a store? NFTs is a perfect way of doing that. But how can you then really be specific with that with geo-targeting? How can you, if there's a new game launching, or if there's a specific team playing, that you could suddenly do NFTs and airdrops just in that one store, so that you create hype. There's a big queue going there. People get something on the back of it. It doesn't have to be non-tradable. It can be tradable as well. So there's loads of different, or you can even then create it dynamically. So the more that you collect by going to different stores, the more that builds up in the value and rarity, which can give a different type of utility. But again, you're going into things that the utility comes down to basically the partner you're working with and what they're willing to part with. I mean, you look at big brands and FMCG brands or fashion brands, they have huge Web2 assets they don't even use, or a lot of them, they don't utilize fully. They could sponsor one of the biggest sporting events in the world where they have free tickets, and they end up giving them away to friends and family because they haven't got enough participants applying to it. I mean, a little bit like on-pack promotions. Not that many people take part in on-pack promotions. If you were to look at the numbers, you'd be staggered how little, because you just look at it and think, well, I'm never going to win that. I'm not going to enter it. I'm never going to win a 5-day safari to South Africa. I can't be asked taking the ring pull and some people do. There's professional competition entries or people who do it. But actually, if you looked at the percent ratio of winning it, I mean, you've got like 100,000 times better chance than the lottery, you know, but you still buy a lottery ticket. So, yeah, I was going on a bit of a waffle there.
No, that was electric. I love that. Why don't more of these multinational Web2 brands with huge assets and brand loyalty and brand recognition, why don't they use their assets more often? Like, you know what I mean? Like you just brought it up, but it just seems like it's almost the big dog theory where it's like, we're so big, we're so cool that, you know, we don't even need to do this. But they're leaving a lot of low-hanging fruit within arm's reach.
Yeah, again, I think it just comes down to the nature of the beast and the organization. And yes, you know, usually each different subdivision will have its own marketing budget, its own goals.
Yeah, and it's friction.
It's too much friction, too many people. And there's, of course, when you're a massive, massive company as well, you have to be so careful about the brand equity. You can't do anything damaging. It's the reason why we built our wallet and our application, which launches in 2 weeks. You know, we realize big brands are not going to ever manage their own Discord. They will never go near it. It's too risky for them. It's far too risky for them. So then, I mean, what we've built with our wallet is token gated chat, token gated announcements, everything that you can imagine alongside there, which actually then makes Discord semi-redundant for the larger brands. They can build their community. We've done something very clever with LG as well, where we built a proof of attendance, which actually can take a photo or a video as a timestamp, which is embedded into the token instantaneously, and that's non-transferable as well. Wow. So you're actually, in theory, it's a non-fungible token that's non-fungible as well because it's a picture of you. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, and there's loads of different applications. But you've got to understand that big brands are very risk adverse. You know, but they do want to push boundaries. They do want to be interactive. They do want to build engagement with their consumers. It's just difficult to do that on scale, on mass. You know, it's very, very difficult to get a global program, and it can take years. You know, years and years.
It's true, and like you said, they almost have more risk than reward. You know, like one bad Web3 stunt and they're fucked. The show is over, right? The show doesn't go on. Yes, the show goes on, but that hits the brand.
Heads will roll.
Exactly. That really does hit the brand, where it's just like for smaller brands or for startups, you almost have asymmetric upside, because if you fail, it's like, okay, there's only a couple hundred people or a couple thousand people who know about you. Who gives a shit, right? But it's when you're talking about some multinational corporation, publicly traded, BOD, shareholders, it's not an easy sell.
Well, it's not, and again, it's the quality of people in the space as well. You know, if you think about this systematically, if you were a large organization, brand, company, whatever it might be, the first port of call would be your marketing division to say, what is this Web3 I want to hear? Or they might have come to you with it. They might not have much information on it. The second port of call would be one of the incumbent agencies that works with you. Yeah. Eventually, someone's going to say, I know all about this. I'll help you on the journey, whether it's a cash grab or whatever they might be looking at, or whether it's a long-term play. But often, they don't realize the opportunities and the utility, and they're trusting a third party to deliver for them. You know, they wouldn't probably trust a third party to run their social media. You know, it's pretty much in-house. So if you want someone to lead your entire Web3 strategy, personally, I always think it's stronger to have someone in-house that's leading it, that is the go-to person that can communicate with the shareholders, the C-level, the marketing divisions, everyone, to say, listen, this is the art of the possible. This is what we can do. This is our capability. This is the assets that we can utilize. Now, how do we formulate this into a long-term plan and strategy? You know, you've got to be thinking of 3 years and 5 years ahead. How do we build a community? How do we reward people for being such a loyal consumer of ours? Or how do we reward people to, you know, convert from a different brand to our brand?
That's very powerful. One thing I'd love to talk about, Zach, you've touched on a shit ton of different utility points. This goes back to the point you said in the first 5 minutes of us chatting, and that's knowing your customer. How do you choose which sort of utility avenue to take the client down when you're speaking to one of these bigger companies that you guys have partnered with? Because there's literally infinite utility, right? Like you can tokenize almost anything. You can gate X, Y, or Z in whatever fashion you'd like to. You can create loyalty program X or membership Y, brand equity Z. You can do whatever you want when it comes to Web3 and crypto. The possibilities are literally endless because of this new technology we have at our hands. How do you decide which avenue to go down? Is it really just, like you said, knowing the customer and then figuring out what their pain point is, classic sales kind of thing? What do you do?
Yes, it's knowing the customer, it's knowing the assets available, how innovative and progressive they want to be with that. And again, it's a case-by-case basis. I mean, things move so quickly in Web3. We know that. Everyone knows that. To me, it just never made sense, digital mirroring. I mean, I just don't get it. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't get why someone who drinks Coca-Cola or whatever drink it might be, or Pepsi, would then want a digital version of that in a metaverse or in the metaverse. You know, it's like, what the fuck? You know, who's going to... I've got an Apple phone, but I'm going to go and queue in a game to get an Apple phone. Like, yeah, digital mirroring doesn't work for me. And even if it was a wearable, it still doesn't resonate. I don't think that's true value yet. If there's interoperability and all of a sudden that asset can move across closed ecosystems, which it can't at the minute, and Web2 ecosystems, and if it gets into the larger gameplays, then absolutely there could be something in that. But I think it's all about understanding and thinking like, go back to basics and think like, what would enable someone to want to either purchase this or want to keep hold of it? Like, where's the value there? You know, is it scalable? Can this go en masse, or is it small scale? And then thinking, okay, how do we do this, and what are the mechanics behind it? And I think the problem is the industry's changed so much that big brands are going to struggle to charge for NFTs or charge large amounts for NFTs moving forwards unless they're super exclusive ones. I just don't see it. I don't see it playing out that way. But listen, I'm prepared to be proven wrong on many things. So, yeah, it's a case-by-case basis, having a look at it and saying, right, what would somebody really get back from this? You know, that could be a fantastic pull and figuring it out then, I guess.
Zach, we're going to take a quick break. Got to give a huge shout out to our sponsor of the show, this Prime XBT. I love these guys. Been using them for a hot minute now, as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet, you can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. They are also giving listeners of the CryptoNews podcast a huge promo code, and that is CryptoNews50 to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Now back to the show with Zach. Zach, couple more contextual shitty questions on my end, and then we'll get into some more, wide-ranging fun stuff. I am constantly thinking of what I feel like is a no-brainer move or play or entry into Web3 for a massive brand like we've been talking about. You brought up so many utility avenues with the sort of LG screens, the hotels, the knowing of your temperature, whatever kind of pillows you like, the menu, blah, 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 the McDonald's stuff. Do you have any other really specific examples? Doesn't even need to be for a brand. It can be for anything. When someone's like, Zach, give me a utility point. Why is Web3 the future? Do you have any locked and loaded off the top of your head that you always give people?
No, to be honest with you, I don't. And because every time someone asks that, you'd say something, and a week later, that kind of sounds pretty stupid when you hear it back. So I tend to keep big statements like that at bay. But I think it's the future of sales and marketing to me. It's having someone entwined and embedded with the actual brand themselves to make them feel like a shareholder, essentially they are, or to reward them properly for loyalty, not like a stamp on a piece of card that you get a free one after 10 drinks. That's not loyalty. That's just impulse. That's just because there's a shop there and it's closer for it's convenience. That's often what drives people is impulse and convenience. Like
everyone's always talking about ticketing and loyalty and how, the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is the hockey team in Toronto, could issue NFT tickets instead of piece of, cardboard or thick paper, what's that piece of paper called? Cardstock, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? Any examples that, like non-obvious ones that, the average Joe or Josephine hasn't already thought of?
I think if you think about musicians as a good example, right? Musicians have constantly kind of, there's an angle for them as artists as well, because a lot of their revenue, just like kind of boxers, I guess, a lot of their revenue is taken by production studios, management, everything else along those lines. But if you break it down again from not just the artist, but if you think about the fans, right? Now, I've listened to music, and when I was a kid, there were certain songs that I play on repeat. I got nothing out of it other than having that song stuck in my head forever. But what if you could reward someone, you could track it immutably, and you could reward them so that if actually the amount of times I listened to that person on Spotify, my NFT changed, and rarity, and that gave me different access on a Web2 domain. I didn't even know I was on chain. I didn't even know it was an NFT. It's just that actually, wow, this is some crazy, weird science, but I'm listening to this song. I've been listening to this song all week, and now all of a sudden I've got backstage access to something, or I've got access to a ticket. And then if you take it a layer up, then I layer on top of that, and I say to the fan, not only is it that if you listen to our song, but actually, if you engage positively across social media, we'll also track that as well, where, there's algorithms to track it. And then all of a sudden, that really loyal fan because if you think of the touch points of a musician, you've got a streaming service, you've got their website, and you've got their social media. There isn't many others, you've got not a huge amount. So actually, how do I know who my fans are? It's difficult. But actually, if I can then see them and see, I've got some super loyal fans here. I've got one person who comments on my social media 3 times a day, every single day, giving me love. And they've just listened to my album 200 times in the past month. Jesus, I'm going to give them access. Or you just create the parameters to give them access to certain things. It might even be some type of video message. It might be some unique content. It might be early access to a song, early release of a song. There's loads of things you can do. And again, if you think of gaming as well, gaming is a good example, and that'll grow. I don't know. It's pretty difficult when there's closed ecosystems, but eventually, when there's interoperability, at the minute everyone talks about play and earn, play to earn, whatever else it might be. It's just not, the games aren't there yet to make it kind of large scale. But if there's suddenly AAA games and they're out there, and all of a sudden the assets that you have in one could be utilized in another, in whatever format, that it's powerful. No more is there that closed ecosystem of centralization where there's someone like EA Sports with FIFA, where they've got all these kids dropping serious money on packs, on cards, on everything else, just for the next year. The game comes out, and all of their stuff's gone. So it'll be interesting. The dynamics will change. I don't think it'll be without resistance and challenges, but it's a starting point for sure.
Which sort of specific area of NFTs and Web3 specifically do you think will be the catalyst for mass adoption? I know a lot of people last year, the easy bet and hypothesis was gaming, play to earn, which is now really not even a thing. We're seeing a lot of the, free to play or free to own models come out. Which sub-industry or sub-sector of Web3 and NFTs do you think will pop off and onboard the first billion users?
Well, it's really difficult. I'll probably go with what most people would say, which is loyalty at the minute, and then how loyalty traverses into something else. And I think the hospitality industry in general, and all the different subdivisions that falls into hospitality, but basically leisure tourism and hospitality.
Right.
I think if you can connect the dots there, it could be incredibly powerful, because if you think of credit cards, travel companies, they all have loyalty and membership, but there's no one who correlates them all singularly.
Right.
So it's, you've got so many different touch points. It would be great, if in the future someone brought out an NFT program that actually you could connect everything to. Absolutely everything to. So actually you didn't have any more logins, you didn't have anything else. It was just built into not a soulbound token, but a non-tradable token of your own that sat in your wallet, and it connected absolutely everything everywhere. You didn't have to register, you didn't have to forget your card or stamp, things along those lines. And
I would pay a stupid amount for that. And that idea you just said is applicable to even think about finance. Think about your TradFi, your personal fiat accounts, then your centralized exchange, your multiple MetaMask, your ledger. Imagine if that was all in one spot, where Zach could see your net worth on any given day.
So we actually do that with our app. So our wallet, you can connect unlimited amount of wallets, and it'll show your entire holdings without putting the asset at risk. So it can be on Ledger, and we can show it all still there live as well. So it's pretty powerful what we can do in terms of that aspect. But break it back down. I think there's. Listen, I'm not here to kind of have a go at the larger corporations and businesses and everything else. But one of the big ones that I see happening, if someone can figure it out, maybe it's us, maybe it's someone else, or maybe it's a collaborative effort, but I think subscription is going to be big. So if you think Sky, Netflix, all of these other companies, I mean, break down actually what subscription is. You know, we pay, or a consumer pays, £10 a month. There's no defined hours in that. That's 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, 7 days a week. That's our subscription. But what if I only watch it 1 hour a week? How's that kind of fair? So imagine if you could fractionalize your subscription model, have them all in one place, and then were to actually lease out. So if I had Sky Sports and I could watch all the sport, but you know what, I'm going on holiday for a week, I'll fractionalize this and I'll just sell the rights to someone to have my subscription for a week. They can pay a very nominal fee and they can watch whatever game they want over that day, and vice versa. And actually then you're utilizing the full 24/7, which is what you're paying for anyway. And you could split that across different people. Again, it's going to come with challenges, and there's going to be a lot of pushback, but you know, it seems sensible option for people. And I think people would love that ability to be able to do that, to split their costs.
That fires me the fuck up. I would love to be able to do that. I even think of like, even the fights, like, you know, watching UFC, like, do I really want to pay? I don't want to watch all the prelims. I just want to watch the main event. Like, it'd be nice to just pay for the main event, or football on Sunday instead of having a DAZN subscription and watching, you know, all the Premier League teams play. It's like, what if I just want to watch, you know, Chelsea, Man U, or, you know, the Derby, whatever? That'd be a treat, you know? I mean,
even if you were to think about it, 168 hours in a week, and you only wanted 2 of those hours, right? You think about that. So it's 2 of those hours, and then the cost over 4 weeks. So if your subscription's £50 a month, call it £12.50, and then you're taking 3.5% of 12, you're paying peanuts to watch that game. You're not paying £12 or whatever it is for one game. So again, I think that would be sensible and fair, whether they'd allow it or not. But yeah, so there'd be my answers on that one. Probably in a couple of weeks' time, people will be like, "Oh, what an idiot, man!"
No, that's not a what an idiot. That's I think it comes down to like the traditional model where it's almost twofold. You have your like full on subscription, or it's free and they hammer you with ads, right? Like traditional cable TV kind of thing. Would either option be open to this? And I'm positive they must have hired one of the big 4 consulting firms to come in and build some financial model to see if, you know, the model that you and I are speaking about, fractionalized subscriptions, if it's worth it for them. Yes, they would definitely have more users, but would the LTV be the same? You know, I can't see how they wouldn't have already modeled this, you know? I feel like there's a reason why we don't have this yet. Or maybe that's just the cynic in me, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like they must have already modeled this. It has to.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they have. They possibly have. But I think it's not even sometimes down to the financial modeling of it. It's not about what the yield might be or what the risk might be. I think a lot of it, they're so scared about data and they want to harvest data as well. You know, they see the value in the data, and actually they would then look at this and say, well, are we opening a legal loophole here? How much work have we got to put in behind this? Because GDPR still does come into certain equations, but you can easily navigate that if you've got an appetite to do it. But again, if you're a major corporation, the first thing that, you know, everyone's got negative connotations about how they harvest or utilize data. So it can be met with resistance, right? It's you know, you see streaming services all the time, but popping up left, right, and centre. But I think they're going to have to address it before it gets. There's only so long people are going to be paying for these massive subscriptions that just keep going up and up and up, you know? Yeah.
The show will end at some point. Yeah. Look, Zach, this has been an absolute treat, and I know we're getting a little tight for time here. We've covered almost all the Web3 topics that are in the show notes here, but I want to talk about you a little bit more. I want to get into your head. Hot takes, advice. You've had an impressive career. Any advice you'd give to your, 21-year-old self coming out of uni, a fresh, perhaps non-bearded Zach, hungry and ready to just tackle the world? What do you wish you knew at the age of 21?
To not believe that experience is the same as knowledge. To not look up at people and feel like what they say is right because they're older and they're more experienced, to understand actually to be very open to learning different points of view, to be able to decompartmentalize and to be able to look at things objectively and to say, okay, well, I can see the argument for this, I can see the argument against it, and just never take things too personally, right? Just understand that this is work, right? It's a byproduct of where you want to go and what you want to be, and eventually you'll find the thing that you love and you'll fall into it, and it'll all be pretty good there. I mean, and just don't care what people think, don't care around your boss's expectations or things along those lines. They'll come and go, you don't have to bend over backwards to do work for them of which you'll get zero acknowledgement. Often, maybe not, maybe it's slightly different, but yeah, that'd probably be it.
That was great. One thing you mentioned earlier, and you and I see eye to eye on this as well, is the importance of jumping around. Like, especially in today's day and age, it's very difficult to climb the corporate ladder and keep getting those pay raises. I personally, I have a lust for learning. I know it's a cheesy line, but I look back at my early career and how often I jumped around and what I got to learn from different mentors, different leaders, different systems, processes, procedures within those companies. How much did that attribute to your present day success? Like, it's crazy.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you can't even put it into perspective in terms of everything that I did has kind of channeled me to who I am now. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, fuck knows, time will tell, I guess. But I think I've seen it a lot of times where people get very complacent. They tread water. They don't absorb as much information as they possibly could, and that's because they don't enjoy where they are. But one of the big problems I see is the institutionalization of people following a certain process and a certain way of working.
Bingo.
And without having the ability to think that this is just their way of working. And actually, I would do things far differently. Or, if you've worked somewhere for 5 or 10 years, especially at the pace of technology, the pace of innovation, the pace of progressive ways of working and everything that comes along with that, then you're going to come a little bit unstuck if you do have to move, and a lot of people get the scare in them. Then they just think, I've gone too far, or I wouldn't be very good at it. And I think it's, again, okay to feel comfortable. Everyone talks about imposter syndrome. It's okay. It's okay to feel uncomfortable at work. If you could go into a job knowing that you could do it, it's the wrong job for you. Yeah. You're not pushing yourself enough. You should have the ability to say, well, I can learn this. I'll learn quickly. I can definitely do this. I've got the right skills, the right attributes to deliver this in a good way. But I'm learning just like everyone else would have to learn. So, yeah, I just kind of go with it.
Love that. A couple more questions here. Hot take factory. Let's step in, let's put our shit kicking boots on, put them up all the way to the knees. What's a Zak hot take that really only you and perhaps a couple other people believe in that many don't? Doesn't have to be business related. It can be health, wealth, happiness, politics, sports, food, nutrition, whatever. What's a Zak hot take?
I guess spend as much time with your loved ones as you can, because life moves very, very quickly. I guess treasure that. And I guess the other one would be cut the time wasters out of your life as well. Anyone who brings you down, anyone who's negative to the work that you're trying to do or the goals that you're trying to achieve or the end point you want to get to, anyone who doesn't contribute to that, they shouldn't have a part in your life. There's too many people who are happy to bring negativity. And misery loves company, right? So just try and stay positive, get some fresh air, and invest in yourself. It's the only thing I would ever invest in is myself, because there's only one life. You've got to live it. We're here for we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time, and just be a good person. The way you act, the way you work, have integrity, and have fun.
Love that. Zak, this was a blast, man. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, cool.
And fired up for round 2. Before you go, can you please let our lovely listeners know where they can find you and Fr0ntierX online and on socials? Yeah,
listen, you can just hook me up on LinkedIn. No problem there. Or quick Google search, whatever. You can find us at fr0ntierx.com. That's with a 0x. The other one does look like a tech company, but it's not us, so we're 0x. And then you'll find links to all of our social channels there. We're going through a bit of a rebrand positioning at the minute because we don't convey ourselves the way that we want to. And you'll see that updated in the next few days.
Love
And
that.
it's been a blast. I loved it.
No, this was so much fun. You're not a Twitter guy, eh? I was trying to lurk you on Twitter. Nothing.
No. Well, I do.
Just
so
burners?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we've got a couple of burners. I mean, my co-founder Jens is obviously Drebin.eth, and he's very active on Twitter. To me, I like to watch. I don't like to interact, and it's just something that I came, and maybe that's just the way I am. I got rid of. I had Facebook, and then I got rid of it maybe 8 years ago. And I've just never bought into it. I've never bought into it. I'm quite glad I don't. I spend my time swiping through information and articles as opposed to pictures. And it's better for my mental state that I don't,
100%.
And I just made that decision and that's good enough. I mean, Twitter's very important to me. I mean, luckily, we've got a phenomenal team around me. So they send me all the articles that I need to see or any influencers that are posting very interesting articles or threads. So I get to keep up with it, get to keep my finger on the pulse. But yeah, you can't find and stalk me, or you can't find something that I wrote 12 years ago that could get me sacked from my job in 20 years time. Put it that way.
Look, I will defend Twitter in some capacity. Twitter is the best for learning. I'd probably pay $100 a month for Twitter. Again, if you've spent time, and I've spent years curating my news feed, it is absolutely brilliant. The bite-sized info I get is incredible. I get, whether it's politics or whatever, I also get it from both sides of the spectrum, which is lovely. Facebook, Insta, it's all shit. TikTok. I've been spending too much time on TikTok recently, but have you heard of Be Real?
Yeah.
I will never get Be Real, but like the young kids, and I don't know how many young listeners we have on the CryptoNews pod, cut that shit out of your life. You cannot let some app tell you to take a picture within 2 minutes. That is absolutely fucking bonkers. You will never be able to have any deep focus. You won't get into a flow state. Cut that shit out. Can't believe that's a thing, man. It's absurd.
It's crazy. I mean, you talk about Instagram, and I talk with people we know and their children, and it's like, that is dead. Snapchat, yeah, okay, they still use that. Most of them will use a gaming platform and use that as their social engagement. I mean, my kids are 8 and 6, and I'm trying to push them towards AI learning and prompt engineering.
That'd be sweet. Good dad. Good dad.
Yeah, I think DALL-E too, and I'm just blown away with AI and prompt engineering. I think it's the future. I mean, what's possible with that is insane. Once it gets more refined, from the fact that you could probably write a book and have it visualized as well just through AI is nuts. Just through a paragraph, it could be insane. We have a lot of fun playing around with it. We do some of the smaller platforms as well that are out there, and the betas, and we'll put like Pomeranian paddleboarding on top of Everest, and it's like, we get it straight away. We have a lot of fun. So but I think there's a big future to be had with that as well. But it's interesting the dynamic shift as well between what we consider social media platforms, what we consider media platforms, and we start dropping the social media, and then what we consider a gaming platform, and what we see as the convergence of all of them. It's super interesting to see, especially Roblox is a big one for my young kids, 6 and 8. They love it. They socialize on it. Their classmates are on there, but it's not without it's. I don't think it's not the perfect version yet. Something will come out to replace that, I'm sure, which will take over a lot of things, a big play in the next year or two.
100%. Well, 1, you're a damn good dad. 2, you just gave me an idea. And I love fucking around with all the AI image creators as well. It's so much fun. For the folks at home, I can include a list in the show notes, or maybe I'll just make a Twitter.
Yeah, I think Hugging Faces, there's one on Hugging Faces that I can send a link for you for, which is pretty cool.
They're incredible. But I don't think, are there any social media platforms that literally, like, think about like an Instagram or a Pinterest just for AI generation, right? Where it's like you make your crazy ass photo and then you share it and people can like it, comment on it. Like, mind you could just do that on Instagram, but that seems pretty cool. It's almost like a no-brainer.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could almost have it like kind of, you could map your entire path out of where you want to be. You could create your bucket list with prompt engineering very, very quickly to say, listen, there's me sitting on top of Everest. I'm going to be there one day. Yeah. There's me sailing across the Med. I'm going to be doing that one day. Well, yeah, I mean, at the minute, it's only a bit of fun. It's just, to me, it's amazing to see the capability of what's being produced. I mean, we're very, very lucky that our VP of engineering is Vladimir Halkatov, who's a phenomenal coder, and he's former head of AI globally for BMW Group. So having some of the insights to what he's looked at in the past and what he's looking at now is mind blowing.
It's pretty crazy to think that for the last 15 years of our lives, with the, after you put in your username and password, the CAPTCHA, where it's like, please click on all the trees, click on all the, the bridges. It's like, now it's coming to use.
Yeah,
there was a reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think mixed reality will be here next year. I'm pretty confident in some format that's going to be here. I think that'll be big. No one wants to stick a fucking headset on to go into what they believe is the metaverse. It's just not going to happen. But mixed reality, I think will. I think Apple, I think Meta are probably looking at it as well.
Zach, it's one of the shades like you're wearing. When a human can put on, exactly, but that's the thing though, when a human can put on a pair of sleek shades that aren't intrusive and it doesn't look like you're about to scuba dive 6 trillion feet underwater, that's when shit will pop off, Yeah. Because right now it's too intrusive. It doesn't feel right. Whereas imagine you can look at me and have your own little world just with your slick pair of shades on. That's pretty powerful. That's some cool shit right there. Yeah,
that's what, and I don't think we're that far from that happening. And I think that'll be a big push and a big play. And then you'll see the growth of digital wearables. You'll see the growth of kind of basically taking the Pokemon Go model and moving on that and taking it to a different level again. Being able to see assets and rewards, being able to see walking past you and then knowing, just as I walk past you, I'll know instantly you're Matt. You've got a podcast. Well, I'm super keen to listen to that because I can see that you're advertising yourself. It's pretty cool. Whatever it might be, the art of the possible. So it's super exciting times ahead. And I think all we do is we try and innovate, stay up to pace with it, try and collaborate, and we join a lot of dots, and that's it. And that's what I think we do as humans and individuals anyway. So look forward to that when it comes eventually.
Exciting times. Timmy Cook said one thing, his last hoorah before he retires. This is the Apple spectacles or the glasses or whatever they're calling them. Apple Glass, I think it's called. You don't bet against that guy,
I'd agree. I've seen one recently. I think Ray-Ban did it. And they did I think quite a few people. Have you seen them? They've got the output is in the frames.
Yeah, the rod.
Yeah, so that you can kind of listen to the music and it's through triggers. Yeah,
it's got a camera too.
Yeah, but it's pointless. It's like the worst invention. I was like, I can't even hear it. I couldn't hear it very well, and people could still hear it who were sitting next to me. I was like, I don't get this. This is just like a speaker on the outside of a layer. But anyway, that's a different point. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what the glasses might look like, what they can do, whether it is glasses, whether it's something else. I think there's some pretty cool shit that's going to be coming out soon.
How Apple is that, eh? It's going to be from head to toe. AirPods, glasses, phone, Apple Watch, computer, tablet,
I mean, listen, I'm a whore to Apple, so
same as me. Yeah, I'm such an Apple slut. It's they just rinse my money. It's just take my money, please. Take new comes out, take more of it. It never ends. Like look at it's all day. It
is, and I think that they're very smart. They build incredible products, in my opinion. But I was bought into it. I had the first iPhone, and I've never had a different phone since. So it's just part of me. It's what I know. It's how I operate. It's my body's function that way. I'm comfortable. But then they hook you in. The new iPad Air has got the M1 chip in. I'm like, that'd be pretty useful. Or do I wait for the iPad Pro, which will probably have an M2 chip in it? I don't even know if that's been announced yet. So it's all the fun and games that come along with it. But again, there's certain things. I've got an iWatch sitting on my wrist now. I can't even remember the last time I unlocked it. It's just like it just sits there. I sometimes see the time on it. I don't need it. It's not necessary in my life. I thought that being able to check my heart rate was a good thing, but the amount of times I was then on Dr. Google trying to find out what problem I had because my heart rate was like too low or my oxygen levels were too low, and it was like nearly death sentence. So there's pros and cons to it all.
I love it. Zach, too much fun, man. We got to do round 2. And at the pace you guys are buzzing at, so hopefully that'll be pretty soon. Pleasure meeting you. Next time you're in the south of Spain, I'll hit you up. It'd be great to go for a couple pops. And thanks again. Really appreciate this. This was an absolute treat.
Yeah, love it. Absolute pleasure. Look forward to the next one.
Folks, what an incredible episode with Zak Manhire from Fr0ntierX. Dropped tons of knowledge bombs, incredible stories as well. And if you're a marketer, this one was definitely for you. If you did enjoy this episode, and I really hope you did, please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. Speaking of the team, love you guys. Eustace, the sound editor, you are the GOAT. Appreciate you, bro. And to all the listeners, love you guys. Thank you so much as always. And keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Bye for now, and we'll talk soon.